Hey, welcome to game 4 of the Slack run through, and this time we're going up against Dark Elves. So, I start on offense, and I'll just stop just to show you any interesting things. So, switch view. Okay, so obviously we have Andra, who now has point in agility, and we have Tim as the dirty player. Although we're not going to really utilize dirty player that much because we still only have 11 people. Also, one being a loner because we still haven't replaced our Yeti. They have a plus strength lineman. They have a dodge on one of their blitzers, and I think they have another block lineman somewhere. Yeah, and a block lineman here. They've gone for the 4 blitzer, 1 runner lineup. Okay, so he set his team up, his lineup incorrectly anyway, because what this allows me to do is get, if I get lucky, 2 possible surfs. So the idea here is to push, 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 have dynamic sporadic here, here, so that allows push and out. And so I can surf from one side. Sorry, kick. I get extra reroll, which is nice. And then also here, push, 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 push out. So I get the first push here, rolling for the second, and I roll a dub skull, so that's my reroll gone. So reroll I got a kick off one pretty quickly. Push again, and then one more time, and then I can frenzy with Dynamic Sporadic. Unfortunately, I get a boat down and a defender stumbles, so that's it. But I get a KO, my first hit, so that's absolutely fantastic. Didn't need the surf there. Block in the middle. It's a safe block, and get an armor break. And then same again here, but I didn't even get started that time. I got a POW and a skull, so I just had to hit him, and I break armor again. So that's 3 hits and 3 armor breaks, 1 KO. So that's a nice start for me. I mean, it's not perfect. Perfect would have been surfing this guy, but yeah, that's how it went. And then I blitz one of the linemen because it's the safest blitz I have, basically. It's the only target there that he has presented that doesn't have dodge or block. So I go to pick up a Peter instead of Cine because Peter needs 1 SPP to level up. So the idea was, like, he's so far away from the ball, I'm in no threat. So the idea was to have Peter pick it up, pass it to Cine, and level up. So I think a slight mistake on my part. I've overextended Jaffa here, and that allows a 2-die block on Jaffa. And he knocks him down. And now I was kind of interested to see what my opponent would do, because I've kind of, I haven't left him much here, but he wants to blitz through the center. And I'm kind of interested to see, will he go through? But no, he won't. He's playing a cautious enough game. He's kind of going to let me come to him, which is fine, because I'm going to try the Peter pass again. Again, no threat on the ball. None of these players can even put a tackle zone on the ball. So I have all the time in the world to try that pass with Peter. So moving up, basing some L's. So this is another surf attempt here. So push him down here, push him across here, and then surf him. But again, just didn't get the pushes. And then I move over to cover to the center just to stop them piling through the middle. And then I attempt the pass again. And that's another one. So don't re-roll it. Ball's in no threat. But that's unfortunate. That's 2 attempts now. I have 3 plus pickup, and I've rolled 1 both times. So he makes a dodge to allow him the 2-die block. And he gets the boat down, but Tim has boat down as well, so that's fine. Yeah, so I picked Jaffa up here because I wanted to kind of hold these guys here. Unfortunately, yeah, Jaffa gets injured on turn 2 of the game. So that's one of my overrunners down pretty much at the very start of the game. I didn't want to Apo it. I think if I was being really aggressive, I'd Apo it and have him back on the bench, but it's just way too early in the game. I'm armor value 7. Another armor break here, and another KO. So things went from, yeah, this is all fine, I can attempt a few pickups with Peter, to, okay, well now I'm a man down, I've lost an Ulf Werner, I've lost one of my strength 4 pieces. So we effectively now have the same strength as each other. He has one strength 4 piece, I have one strength 4 piece, the rest of our pieces are strength 3. So I stopped messing around, I use Cine to pick the ball up, and I form a cage on the right. So Cine picks the ball up, David is going to form one, Peter's going to form the other side. I can't actually get Andra all the way across, so I block them running through this channel here. So I tried to blitz there, stand up so I can get a block here, and then that would free up Jim to move down. Unfortunately, that didn't work. So I'm just going to have to make a block here. So my cage isn't fully formed, unfortunately. And I think I attempted one die here because I have block and the other person doesn't. So I push him away just to stop him getting a 2 die. And then I try an uphill block because, again, I have block, they don't, and they're going to 2 die me anyway. So I want to get the 2 die uphill on the piece that I think is best, and that's the piece without block. Okay, so I'm not too worried about this cage. It is missing a shield side here, but they're not going to get, I counted the squares, they wouldn't be able to get in and around, so not too worried. Dodge failed, and they don't decide to re-roll that. I was really surprised about that. That's serious discipline by my opponent there. He's left a lot of pieces that needed to move, and he decided not to re-roll it. I mean, I understand what he's why, because, you know, I'm in no real threat of doing much here. Oh yeah, so I try another surf here, so it would go down, 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 and then it would blitz with dynamic sporadic. Unfortunately, just not getting those pushes. But I do get the armor break. So now I'm moving my cage up a bit. The stun here is nice because it means I can base a player here without having to worry about kind of being blitzed by him next turn. Okay, so I make a mistake here. I don't respect the dodge enough. So the idea was blitz him down and then base this. So I do another two that here, may as well. It's working out so far. Try have a crack at the runner as well. Just if I get very lucky, I might be able to hit armor value 7. So yeah, dynamic sporadic is blocking here, but that's just a 2+, and he had a man down here, so it could have been 2+ base here, 2+ 2 die block. But luckily for me, he didn't see it. Our loner finally gets knocked down, and he gets injured. So second injury. Things are getting really bad for me now. 3 players down to their 1. So 2-man advantage against the elves is an absolute nightmare. Elves don't need, like, you know, elves tend to be playing from behind because they have low armor value. So another armor break here. So playing them from when you're behind is just a nightmare. Okay, so he goes to the blitz here. And he does a 1 die. Could have got a 2 die, like I said, if he moved this guy in here. But he went for the 1 die, and he gets a push. Okay, so like you can see, I'm super penned in here. So this is not ideal at all. But I do see that there's a surf on here. So that's what I try and do next. Just to try and even the numbers. And it's a lineman with block. So it's essentially a blitzer. Well, no, 1 movement less. Alright, make a block on the loner. And here comes the surf. So I just need to move David down, and then Andra. It's only a 2+ dodge because he has agility, and then hit him from this side with the mixed surf. Okay, so that means I'm down to a 1-man deficit, so a little bit better. But you can still see I'm still very penned here. And I had no real way to form a proper cage, just because all of our guys were based pretty much. So I move him across 1 to try and get away from these players who are based. So a push on that. So he decides not to follow up here, which is interesting. I think he was worried about another surf. So he puts in a safety here, and now he blitzes with the strength 4. So that's the nice thing about having strength 4. You don't need an assist, and he gets a knockdown. Ball scatters into, like, yeah, I mean, better that it scatters down than up. So I can't complain about that scatter at all. So now I have to try and clear the tackle zones around the ball so I can try and pick it up. So I want to clear out the strength 4 lineman, and I have to use dynamic sporadic to do it because he's also strength 4. And that allows Cine now, he's able to move in to pick it up without having to make a dodge. So I try and form a little cage, well, not a cage, a screen, I guess, here. Sydney makes the pickup, and then runs into this. Now it's not good at all. Like, I'm basing a blitzer who's not even stunned, so this blitzer can just get up and blitz. And my cage it's not even a cage. My screen is based by several players, so not that difficult for him. He goes for a 1 die, and he makes it. So he actually tries to re-roll the catch. I think he thought that if he made this catch, that would pretty much he'd score. Re-rolls it and bounces up to Jim, who makes a 6+ catch. So yeah, really fortunate for me there. If it had scattered out here at all, I think I'd be 1-0 down, because he has pieces free that he can just move across here. But Jim manages to make the 6+ catch, and I still manage to hold it. So he tries another 1 die, doesn't work from this time. Okay, so I mess up massively here. So I want to show you what I'm trying to go for. But I don't know, I just wasn't thinking straight. So, right. Jim is 2 spaces away from scoring. He has to make 2 GFIs, but he's 2 spaces away. My plan was to try and chain push out. So away from these guys, chain push Jim up here and block here. And that it would still allow me a blitz. And hopefully I would blitz this guy, and that would allow Jim a free run in. I don't know what I was thinking, but I mess up the tackle zones. I mess up filling the spaces. So I tried here, thinking that I could push into here, but I forgot to fill up this space. So the idea was push here into here. That didn't work. Then I try again. So the idea was, okay, this is a frenzy piece. I can push attack blitz here, push up here, frenzy again, push up here. Unfortunately, again, just was not thinking. If you're blitzing this way, you can either go here, here, or here. It'll always go to a free zone. So I needed to fill up this space. I knew that. I knew the other one. I didn't apply it. So Jim moves absolutely nowhere this turn, and I'm stuck at this point. I try to roll another 1 die. I do have a reroll at this point, but don't use it. I'm stuck. I just can't get out of here. Even if I manage to free up Jim to make a break for it, he has 2 safeties here to tackle me. So, and then Peter gets killed. Use the Apo. Peter joins the substitutes. So thank God for that. But yeah, armor just absolutely not holding up. It's armor value 7, but like it's been a brutal half. Another armor break, only a stun. So now he's a fairly simple tackle on the ball. It's still only 1 die so far though. No, is it? No, it's 2 dice, sorry, because yeah, this piece here. Okay, so he makes the 1 die. Gets the POW. And caught by the strength piece, rolled a 5, and now he moves a piece down. We're on turn 7, so he's thinking now I have a really good chance of turning this half into a score. And just to show you how trapped I am, he did all that without using a blitz, and now the blitz comes, another armor break. So we have 1, 2, 3, we have 4 stun pieces here. So I have to one die into the strength 4 piece, but I actually manage it, and I get an armor break. Don't re-roll that. And it scatters up here. Okay, so this is danger zone here. Make a blitz up here to try and free up here. The idea was push, but it actually still leaves a tackle zone here. So Nat has to make a 4+ dodge into a 3+ catch, 4+ catch, pick up rather. Actually manages to re-roll it and pick it up. Okay, so now this is still a really dangerous position. He still has this piece free, and it's a scoring piece. And if the elves can get a hold of this ball, they don't need too many rolls to actually get it into the hands of this player here to score. So yeah, they don't even need a blitz. They just make the block. It's a knockdown. And the ball bounces up here. Can't really complain about that. I mean, the ball would need some crazy scatters to get down to a tackle zone. So he uses the loner to pick it up, which I thought was very strange, because the loner has a reroll problem, but the loner manages to pick up. And he runs it down, and now it's just a 3+ into a 2+ to score. Messes up the pass, uses the reroll. Makes the pass, makes the catch, and runs it in to score on my drive. So, yeah, not good. Okay, so we're going into the second half now. He gets his piece back. I've obviously 2 injuries. I do get Peter back because I appoed the injury, and I do get... I can't remember who that knockout piece was, but I do get him back. Okay, so now it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 against 11. So 2 men down. It's the elves' drive. And they're 1-0 up, so we're in trouble here. My idea here now is to start using Tim. At this point, I'm so many men down that even if Tim gets sent off, it's a risk worth taking to see if I can actually injure some of his elves to try and even the playing field. Kick comes in. I get perfect defense, which is nice, so I can make a few of these safe. So I move Jim and David to the left, and I move Nat to the right. The idea is having 2 here to put beside the blitzer, so they need a tackle zone, and putting 1 here beside the loner, because if the loner wants to make a block, then it might go wrong. And then moving everybody up a little bit. Just, I need to put pressure on him this half. So he starts committing more people forward, which is what I was kind of hoping that he would do, to make the blocks, because that allows me to get in the sides. I'm just hoping that he doesn't get the knockdowns. So he commits a blitz to the line as well. And no armor breaks this time, which I'm really happy about. So he goes to the pickup, makes it. And then tries to farm a little bit of SPP. I was wondering to see if he'd re-roll this, but again, really, a lot of restraint shown by my opponent here. He's dropped it. I can base this ball with a few rolls. So interesting that he chose not to. I mean, he only has 2 re-rolls, so I can understand where he's coming from. And the best I can do is base it. It's not like I'm going to pick it up and run and score. Manage a block. Nat manage the block on the loner. No armor break though. So now I have to base here because I want to frenzy in. The idea, I want to frenzy in to try and base the ball as close as I can. So I need the GFI here. I need the GFI base here just in case the frenzy's a push. I need a second assist. So I managed to frenzy, knock him down. No armor break unfortunately, but I managed to base the ball. So that's good. I'm happy with that. I'm putting a little bit of pressure on the ball. If he messes up a roll, all of a sudden I'm very close to his end zone. So yeah, the idea there was I was going to use Tim. So Tim to run in GFI, and foul. It was a 7+ on his only blodger. So I thought it was a risk worth taking. Unfortunately, it failed the very first GFI. Don't re-roll that because it's not that important. Okay, so obviously he tries to blitz Andra away to make sure the ball is safe. He rolls us down and a boat down. Doesn't get it. Re-rolls, injures Andra. Okay, so I'm down a berserker. Thank God Andra's okay. Didn't have an Apo this time, and I would have been really, really angry if I'd lost my plus agi to that. So, but yeah, we're down another player again. Okay, so he plays it safe now. Just cages up in the center. He did decide to cage, to base his cage, which I think is dangerous, definitely. But he does manage to 2 die away and push away. So cage is no longer based. Another armor break, but just a stun this time. And rolls a dove skull. Okay, so like how do I defend this? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 8 players against his 11. So the idea is I'm just going to blitz the cage every turn. If I can, try and blitz away a corner and base. That's really nice. So that's a knockout. Nat manages to knock out one of their players. So now it's 8 versus 10. So yeah, the idea is just try and block a corner every turn, base the runner, and see if eventually they mess up a roll. Go for the foul again here on the blodge. But nothing going. And then run striker down just to try and cover here. Try a 1-die. Just manages to get a boat down. Okay, so this is still very simple for him. It's a 2-die to block away my base piece, and he manages it. And now his runner is free. Makes a GFI. He needs that to be one corner of his cage, obviously. And now he's able to just advance his cage. There is nothing I can do about this. If it was 11 versus 11, what I would do is try and slow down the movement of his cage, but I just don't have enough players to do that. There's always going to be space for him to run into. So the best I can do is just keep blitzing a corner and hoping that one of his rolls goes badly. Or he gets overconfident and leaves a cage open or something like that. I was really hoping he'd leave him there. I was like, surely you're not going to leave him there. But he does not. So now I move down dynamic sporadic, basing one side of the cage. The idea here is if I'm basing here and even get in, I'm going to try and make it difficult for him to run right. Because hopefully I'll have a piece here and I'll have dynamic sporadic here. And if he tries to run right, he needs to make a bunch of make a bunch of dodges. So I'm trying to force him out a bit left here because I have players on the left. Basing the blodger, just to, hopefully maybe another example of a roll that he has to make. And like I said, since I'm trying to stop him moving right, I'm now putting players to the left. So if he does actually start to go left, then I have people that can clear. So this time doesn't manage to knock one of my Cine, who's basing the ball carrier. So he's going to have to use a blitz now. Another armor break on Tim, and a KO. I've lost count. What am I down to now? 7, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 pieces. So here's the blitz on Cine to try and free up the ball carrier. It works. He gets to push away. But he can't advance this time, unless he wants to try and make a few tough dodges. So he just backs up. He's playing it safe. He knows he's 1-0 up. He doesn't, he essentially doesn't need to score. 2-0 will seal the game, but he's kind of saying to me, okay, well, um, you try and take the ball off me. You know, you try and score. Okay, so I want to explain this move here because this seems a bit weird. All right, so I'll pause it here. Right, so this is a 2 die uphill. If I move a piece in here, it becomes a 1 die, which is a bit better. Although I'd have to move a piece here as well. But I decide to go for the 2 die uphill. Nat goes for the 2 die uphill. And the idea is, if I can... Nat has block, so it's just a skull. A skull screws me. A boat down also kind of doesn't work for me, but it doesn't end my turn. But anything else, so 3, 4, 5, or 6, push, defender stumbles, and pow, all work for me. Because the idea is, I want to push this guy up here, and then that allows Dynamic Sporadic to come in and get a 2 die as long as I'll need to base here. But that allows a 2 die in here. So that's why I go for the 2 die uphill. But before I do that, I am just moving a few players around just to make sure, because the 2 die uphill, if I roll a skull, I'm screwed. But I don't. I roll defender stumbles and a push, and I get the push. So I move up. I push up rather, stay here because I need this channel to be clear, but I do need to base these 2 guys here. So that allows Dynamic Sporadic to move in here without a dodge and get a 2 die. The dump off works, and he actually makes the pass, and I get the knockdown. So very happy with the knockdown, but unfortunately the dump off works. So now he still has a player with the ball, and that player now has dodge, but it's, you know, this very kind of cautious play of his where he was caging up every turn. It's now a bit of a mess. So some sort of result for me at least. Okay, so huge mistake here. I don't know what my opponent was thinking. He tries a 4+ dodge. So I don't know if it was a misclick or did he not realize what he was doing or whatever, but he's moved from a tackle zone into a tackle zone. So it's a 4+ dodge, and that was one of the first things he did in that turn. He re-rolls it and he messes up again. So this is an opening for me finally. I'm already basing the ball carrier, and it's based by Peter, so it's a frenzy piece. So I just need to make sure that if I get a push on the first turn, I can still get a 2 die. So I bring Jim up. I get the push, but it still allows me another 2 die, and I get the pow. So, got the ball off him. Stage 1 complete. Scatters to his strength piece, who messes it up, and scatters up. So, wasn't happy with that scatter, but what can you do? And now I try and clear. So I was looking for a pow, because if I had powed him, I'd be able to push this guy off and knock this guy down, which would clear any tackle zones in the ball. Fortunately, I get a push, but it's still it's just a 1 tackle zone. Cine makes the pickup. So now I'm in control of the ball. It's incredibly precarious position. I don't have Cine protected at all, but at least I have the ball. So that block there now on David was, I'm trying to free up David, because somehow if I can manage to get the ball away, I need a piece here that can actually run. So he gets a push here, and then he actually does what I wanted David to do, which was, you know, free up a tackle zone here. But he does it to get a base, breaks in his armor, stuns him, and Nat manages the 6+ catch. So that's absolutely huge. The blitz is used, so I will start the next turn with the ball. So huge pickup from Nat there, a huge catch rather. Okay, so this is another mistake from my opponent here, I think. He goes for the foul on Dynamic Sporadic. I'm not sure why. I don't think Dynamic Sporadic was much of a threat, but he needs to see where my scoring threat is, and it's David, right? So if I can switch the play, I can break away here. So I use a blitz from Jim. That frees David from any tackle zones. I jump up here. So I could have used the block on Peter here, without, you know, like with Peter sitting down. But if I had frenzied up I'd be going into a much worse position. So I just stand Peter up for the base and get the 1 die here. The idea being, if I can knock this tackle zone, this guy has a tackle zone here. If I can knock that away, it allows Nat to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then make the pass here. So 1 die works out. And that allows Nat to go and try and make the pass. So the dodge works. Then I go for the pass, makes the pass and the catch work. So 3+ and 3+ both worked. And now I GFI once, fine, GFI the second time, fine. Okay, so obviously looking a lot better for me now. I am still very, very, very easily sacked. These L's can all reach me. So here comes the blitz. Blitz doesn't work out, and he has no more rerolls. So he pushes David to the side. But now he's in trouble. So he moves up another piece to stop simple. So he makes it 2 GFIs, I think there. Yeah, it makes 2 GFIs to cover the block. Sorry, to cover just a simple dodge out. But none of his other pieces can reach. The only person that could have helped David was Jim, but Jim is now armor broken and stunned, so Jim can no longer help David. So David's all on his own up here, and then he just goes for more blocks. So I think that piece there is a scoring threat. I think he's thinking if I can sack him and pass down here, I'll make it 2-0. Another armor break on striker, but that doesn't matter. I mean, none of the pieces. So go for the block, 2 die uphill, manage to get the push. Push is made. It's a 3+ dodge. Fail the 3+ dodge. Reroll it. And David makes it. And he runs in and passes GFI and manages to score. So yeah, didn't see that coming at all. David's there actually performing heroics, making the catch, making the 2 die uphill, making the dodge, making all those GFIs. So yeah, I had to get really lucky on all those rolls. So yeah, with what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players, managed to actually turn that and score. So I was really, really happy with that. And now I just set up for the 1-turner, sacrificing Jim, David, and Nat on the line. They get a quick snap. The way he's set up, he's not set up for a 1-turn here. So yeah, this and he didn't get a riot, so he doesn't have 2 turns to play with. So I can pretty comfortably say this is going to end 1-1. So Jim survives the first block. Jim survives the second block. David, an MVP of the game, survives this block. And finally, Nat gets pushed. Gonna have to take 1 more block. Oh, but he doesn't make it. Yes, he wants to get SVP here. Yeah, because it's a loner, so it doesn't matter if he gets the injury. Makes a pass, makes a catch, gets his SPP. So the loner now will make his block. Gets it. Another armor break. But that's fine, just a stun. So they go and they base Jim. The blitz is going to come in from the lineman. And Jim, again, survives another push. So I would have to make a GFI to base, so I don't bother. I just go for the 1 die. I have a block. I reroll it. I'm feeling cheeky, and I get a skull. So I really should have paid for that for an injury. It is an armor break, but it's just a stun, and that's the end of the game. So yeah, really, really happy with that. Jaffa got the MVP as well, which is great. He just needs 1 more SPP to level up. So yeah, just completely outblocked in that game. I actually made more blocks than he did, but yeah. just armor value 7, absolutely killing me. I think if you look at the dice rolls, I put this up in the channel, but I had an armor success rate of 45%. So more than 50% of his blocks ended up in an armor break. So yeah, that was really, really nasty. Actually, these dice I think are a bit skewed because you roll your own injury rolls. And since I rolled 2 casualties, well no, like 2 casualties and 2 injuries, I think it was, or 5 injuries. That's a lot of these. I think a lot of these rolls are going into that. But yeah, actually delighted with the draw there. And despite getting absolutely creamed with 4 injuries, no one actually got seriously hurt. Peter died, but I managed to appo him into safety. And I rolled a 3 in the winnings, which has given us 140 grand, which has given us a Yeti. We get our Yeti back. And this one is called Yannick. So welcome to the team, Yannick. What does Yannick look like? I think Yannick's more of this kind of guy. Right, so we have our Yeti back. So after 4 games, we're back to a full strength lineup. So we had to play, 3 games without a Yeti? So we finally have this guy back, and we have our full team again. No level ups in the game. Obviously David scored, brought him to 5 out of 6. And I think we got some other SPP. Oh, we got throwing SPP, so Nat would have got 1. Yeah. So yeah, absolutely delighted with that. That's game 4. Hopefully our armor holds up a little bit better in game 5. But until then, thanks very much for watching.